Hey everyone, I'm shooting a little video on feeling overwhelmed because, I don't know, it seems to me that everybody these days is suffering overwhelm. There seems to be so much crises and so much to do, and I don't know about you, but I still have 300 emails to get through and I'm working hours a day on the emails. So either I'm incredibly inefficient or there's just this huge volume of information coming at us. And it isn't just the emails, it's all the things that the emails trigger, all the things I have to do and haven't done. And honestly, at the moment, I'm not nearly as busy as I have been work-wise, but I still feel totally overwhelmed. So I thought if I'm feeling like that, I would shoot a little video on what I'm doing to try and deal with it. And this is the reason I'm standing here with the river in the background, because one of the best things I've found I can do when I'm feeling overwhelmed and I don't know where to start is to go into the garden and stay there until I feel better. And my cousin told me that about 20 years ago. She's an avid gardener. And so I'm standing here barefoot on the grass on a dull, kind of going to rain any second day, and I'm using it to ground. Because for me, that's one of the best strategies I've found to stop feeling overwhelmed. And you know, I've thought about it quite a lot, because if I'm going to help people how to get out of overwhelm, but primarily help myself, what are the sorts of things that make us feel overwhelmed? So before I go into that, I just want to say, truly grounding is one of the best things you can do. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm in bare feet and I'm standing on my beautiful grass yard that I have to mow, which would be another thing I could let overwhelm me. But fortunately it's a rainy day, so I can't do it today. And we've had a lot of rain, so it's not going to work if I do it today. And that's kind of a part of it. It's when there's something you have to do, but you just can't, and you can't control it. Well, there's a key. Looking at what you can control and what you can't control. And understanding that you've just got to let what you can't control go. And you've got it on a list. That's what I do anyway. I've got it on a list, and as soon as I can do it, I will. And that piece I do have control over. So I deal with the urgent things, I deal with stuff that must be done today, and the other stuff on my list that is not urgent is something that I'll get to as soon as I can. But I digressed a bit there. So I'm going to stand here for the time I'm doing this video and grounding, because it's one of the most wonderful things you can do. And if you don't have a backyard like this, I'm very blessed, then find a patch of earth or grass or something somewhere near where you live, and give yourself the opportunity to go outside. Because whether we work at home or in an office, often we're sitting in an artificial environment all day long, and the human body is truly not designed to do that. It's really important that you understand we must get out into nature in some way. Sunshine is great, but not possible today. However, I'm still picking up something from being outside. And of course, you know, if you've got allergies and all the other things that seem to affect us, balance it so that you don't get overwhelmed by allergies whilst you're trying to ground. I don't know, there just seems to be such a lot, doesn't there? So know that you're not alone. And that, I think, is something that's important. Understanding that almost everybody feels overwhelmed these days at some level. And I think it's just a condition of everything going faster, and there's so much information out there, and there's so much doom and gloom if you choose to listen into that. So there's a ton of reasons for us feeling overwhelmed. And not only those external factors, but it's the internal factors that really matter, and what we tell ourselves about what's going on. So one of the core things whilst you're grounding is to just stop. Stop and take 2 big breaths. A big breath in and all the way out. And again, all the big breath in, right down to the base of your lungs, and all the way out again. Because what we don't realize is that the more stressed we get, which is what overwhelm does to us, or feeling overwhelmed does to us, is that it stops us breathing. When we get stressed, we breathe very high and shallow. So if we can stop, take 2 big breaths down to the base of your lungs, in and out, that starts to settle our nervous system. And if you can do it while you're grounding, it's even better. But if you can't, if you're in an office and you can't get out, or you're inside your house and you actually can't go outside for 5 minutes and find a patch of grass, see if you can find, I don't know, some earthy product, stand on some real timber, not fake timber, or some real tiles that have been made out of earthy products. That's a start. And of course, you've got to be barefoot, because there are negative ions in the earth that come up. I think they're the negative ions, and they help restore the electron balance in our bodies. So there's a real physiological reason for grounding. And there's a real physiological reason for taking 2 breaths, 2 big breaths in and out. And the other thing that you can do, there's like a heap of them. I think I'll do a series on this. But another thing that you can do is when you're starting to notice that you're ramping up and starting to feel overwhelmed, just like I did this morning, trying to deal with I went in and I knew I was going to shoot videos today, and I thought, well, I'll just check my emails to make sure that there's nothing urgent there. So, of course, 2 hours later, and I found 3 things that I hadn't done that I had to check, and I could feel myself ramping up. So that when it came time to start the videos, I'm like, and I had to practice it myself. So I had to stand outside. I'm doing it again now to demonstrate it to you. And I had to stop and take 2 big breaths. And then the third thing I had to do was to observe myself and what I was doing to myself to make myself feel overwhelmed. Because the truth is, nothing can make you feel overwhelmed except yourself. Truly, it's us that make ourselves feel overwhelmed by telling ourselves stories about, oh my stars, I've got so many emails, and I didn't do this and I didn't do that, and then I don't know if other people do this, but I walk out of my office and I notice the 4 or 5 things that I have to do outside that I haven't done, that aren't related to work. And what we don't realize is that all of those things kind of accumulate unconsciously. So they're kind of sitting there in the background, and now I'm adding emails and things I didn't do to my emails, and I have to shoot some videos and get the social media stuff up, and then learn something else about what's going on, and then expand my understanding of AI, for example, so that I can start to use it effectively. And then there's some, and so I end up, and I end up doing nothing. Well, rarely do I do nothing, but I end up feeling frozen. So I don't know if you can relate to these things, but why not try the 3 strategies that I just talked about? Stop. When you start feeling yourself ramping up, stop, take 2 big breaths in and out. And if that helps you feel better, great, you can keep going. If that doesn't work, then go outside and ground. Be in nature somehow. Hug a tree. You know, I know it sounds ridiculous, but actually hugging a tree, as long as it hasn't got bugs all over it, is actually really good for you, because it's a symbol for your body to and because nature offers us so much. And you know, you can play this video if you want and turn the sound off and just look at the river in the background and calm down looking at that. And if you can't go outside, it's not the same, but what you could do is turn on YouTube for 5 minutes and look at a babbling brook with bird sounds and just immerse yourself in the nature of the video. It's truly not the same, but it's better than nothing. It's better than sitting in the office and ramping yourself up. And then the third thing is to observe yourself. Kind of step outside yourself and look in as if you were a good friend or a loving parent, and ask yourself, wait, what am I saying to myself to ramp myself up? How am I making myself more stressed? Because it's always us, unless it's physiological stress, unless you're in extreme heat or extreme cold, or in some extreme physical condition. What stresses us is what we tell ourselves. And we start to tell ourselves things like, for example, me, I got so many emails and I've got to do this and this and this as I looked outside, and then I have to do that. And I'm moving house, and so there's a million things I have to do with moving house and changing addresses. And if I sat there and I thought about everything that I have to do, I'd be rolling on the floor, like rocking, sobbing, you know, and that doesn't serve me. And it doesn't serve any of us. So of course, one other strategy is to make lists. But I'll talk about that in another one, because this is quite a long video by now. But see how you go. Try 2 big breaths. Either go outside into nature if you can, stand barefoot, really important, barefoot on the earth or on the grass or on wood or on timber, or, well, same thing, or some, tiles or something that's near the ground that will allow the grounding to happen. But grass or earth is better. And then observe what it is that you're telling yourself. So give that a try. I hope it helps.
Always look on the bright side of life.